Ace is a sniper character in a game about going into small rooms. Yeah. In this video, we're going to be looking at Ace's strengths and weaknesses, go over her kit, and showcase two different Ace builds. Her initial build that everyone must use, and my personal preferred build. While I may not be the world's #1 Ace, this guide should be more than enough for you to hit the ground running. Alright, let's start it up. While classes aren't necessarily a thing in Deceive, Ace is listed as a tracker. Agents focused on finding, signaling out, and hunting down targets, and I think this fits Ace pretty well. All of her expertises do involve finding people, and a lot of her passives and even weapons are good at signaling out and taking down one target. Unlocks in Deceive are locked behind the class progression system. As you play more with Ace, you'll gain mastery points and mastery levels. Along the way, you'll unlock things at levels 2, 6, and 10. You'll unlock cosmetics. At level 3, the second passive. Level 4, the second expertise. Level 5, the second weapon. At level 7, the final passive. Level 8, the final expertise. And level 9, the final weapon. Once you've completed the 10 mastery levels, you move into the long-term progression system known as Echelons. There's 100 Echelon levels, and it's estimated to take anywhere from 400 to 600 gameplay hours to complete this track. There's a lot of rewards along the way. At levels 10, 50, and 100, there's unique costumes, and at level 30, there's a unique ink. At every level, you'll gain 20 of the premium currency known as bonds. All right, let's start with Ace's pretty iconic weapons. Before we do, we should talk about a kind of mechanic that's sort of baked into her passive, but pretty important on her weapons as well, is that when you ADS, you get this charge. You can see it in the video here and all the other videos. There was a little red bar that fills up. That's the difference between a charged shot or an uncharged shot. There it is again. So there's only charged and uncharged. There's no like half charges. It's either a fully charged shot or it's not. And any charged shot is going to trigger your passive. Talk more about those in the passive section. And they're also going to increase the damage you do on that shot by 25%. So we're going to go over those numbers as we go over the damage numbers, but I thought it's important to call out. Personally, how I use this is generally the first shot I'm ambushing someone with will be charged, and then most of the time I won't bother to charge another shot unless there's specific situations where I feel like I can spend the extra time to charge the shot for that bonus damage is meaningful. And that leads us right into the weapon one, which I think I probably do that on the most. 32 damage to the body, 64 to the head is good damage, but when you charge it, you're going to do 40 to the body and 80 to the head, which are some key breakpoints if you do the math. A charged body shot into a charged headshot is going to hit for 120 damage, which is going to take any level of health chip out. So that's already one reason you may just want to charge 2 shots back to back to land that headshot, or 3 charge shots 40 40 40 is also going to get you to 120. Obviously, without any charging at all, 32, 32, 32 is almost 100. You throw in a melee, that's going to push you over that 100 breakpoint. Second melee is going to be required to push you into that 115 breakpoint. That's that highest health chip. This weapon is 5 shots before you have to reload, which should be more than enough. And with a 2.5 second reload, you really don't want to be reloading in this with this gun if you can help it. You do have 5 shots though, so hopefully you don't. Relatively slow rate of fire at 0.75 compared to the rest of the cast, but for Aces it's fairly good actually. It's the middle of her weapons and feels actually a little fast comparatively, but you'll see why once we get there. It's a sniper rifle, which means it doesn't have any damage fall off at all, so you can shoot across the entire map with this for full damage. And we already talked about the charge, so that's her weapon 1. I think it's probably her best weapon and has been for a bit. Again, the potential 2-tap of charged body shot and a charged headshot can just win you fights without any problem. It can just do so much damage. You have 5 shots that you fire pretty quickly, and you can always, the break points work out where you can always kind of throw in a melee to finish someone off if you need to. It's a really good weapon overall. Moving into the Jack of Diamond here, this is her carbine. Supposedly, I guess this is supposed to be a fast firing but lower damage option. So again, has the charge mechanic, does 20 to the body, 30 to the head. When you charge those shots, it's going to be 25 to the body and 38 to the head. So nothing really to write home about. The charge time is faster on this gun than the previous weapon. They each have individual charge times. This one charges pretty quickly overall. But not so fast, you're not giving up some fire rate. So it does fire much faster at 1.65 shots per second, which is a lot faster. You get 8 shots before you have to reload, and the reload speed is only 2, which on Ace is pretty quick, but compared to the rest of the cast is a little on the long side, so you don't necessarily want to be reloading. But at 8 shots at 20 damage, you're doing okay. The problem with this weapon is the fire rate is only 1.65. This weapon is very comparable, and this might be the first time we bring up another agent, but Agent Red here has basically the same carbine, if it would stay on the screen there. Same damage, 20, 30, mag size of 8. We have a slightly longer reload here, 2.1 compared to 2. But the rate of fire over here is something I'm really calling out, has a 2.0 shots per second. And in my Red guide, I called this weapon kind of usable, like it's good, but probably Red's worse. Well, this is just a worse version of that. It's the same damage with a lower fire rate. The reload probably doesn't matter, but it has that charge mechanic. So how much value are we putting into those charge shots? And besides the first shot doing 5 more damage, not a lot, because charging the other shots is going to lower that rate of fire even further, even if you are landing those headshots for 38. Like, it's just not that worth it. This weapon is one of the reasons that the Ace guide took a little longer than people may have expected based on where Ace is in the cast, but they did just buff it, and I wanted to really give it a good try before I called it bad again, and I've decided I think it's still bad, unfortunately. Now, this one is technically not a sniper rifle, so it does have fall off. Now, the fall off on it is you don't start losing any damage until you're 25 meters away. And then at the furthest, 35 meters away or further, you still do 70% of your damage. So the fall off is not a lot and really kind of insignificant. But this is a weapon I don't really recommend anyone using right now. It's just unfortunately not good. The rate of fire needs to be higher, or something needs to change for this to be good. If you want a fast firing, high damage Ace weapon, you're just looking at the weapon 1. It does fire slower, and you will notice it fires slower, but at least you're doing good damage. So that's that. Moving on to her final weapon, the King of Diamond here. So this one is a big damage for pretty low fire rate. But you do 40 damage to the body, 80 to the head. And again, if you're charging, and that charge is long, it's about a full second to charge this gun. You are going to do 50 damage to the body and a full 100 to the head, which means if you find someone out of cover and you have time to charge your weapon and get them in the head, you can one-shot someone without a HP chip. It is the only one-shot mechanic, pure one-shot mechanic in the game. Now, the downside with this weapon and its huge damage is there's one bullet before you have to reload, and you have to spend 1.8 seconds reloading, which like is less than both of our other guns, but you only fired 1 shot. So you know, in a in realistic, this reload speed is basically the same as a rate of fire there. How fast can you shoot 2 bullets is dependent on the reload speed. Again, sniper rifle, no fall off. This weapon is actually really good. I know it's kind of hard. I mean, it's kind of hard to judge because there's big damage, but big downside. Missing with this weapon is going to be a big problem because that means you have to do a whole nother reload before you can fire a 3rd shot. But even just landing 2 body shots is going to do 80, and then you can charge punch someone for 30 or 2 quick melees. Yeah, even though it's only going to be 80, if the first shot is charged, if you can do an ambush, you're going to hit for 50 and 40, which is 90. And then a quick melee is going to put you at that 105 mark, which is going to break the 100 break point. Not quite get you the 115 break point, but a second melee would get you there, or charging the first melee. This weapon works out to be pretty good. It's just not quite as good as her weapon 1 because it's just so consistent with its 5 shots to, before you have to reload, and it's pretty high damage. But I find this one really fun to play, so we'll see it in our preferred build. Moving right along to Ace's expertise, these are really what make Ace a tracker here, starting with the Queen's Gaze. So this is a pretty interesting ability. You start hunting, it says. So hunting is not a debuff that exists in the game, but functionally it applies trace to them, which if you've seen other guides you've seen, it allows you to view them through walls. They glow red. This video is here a little outdated. That NPC in the little video there should be glowing, but we'll see this in our initial build, and you get this trail to them. So not only do you get to see them through walls, it will give you a trail towards them, which can be really useful. This trail part of the ability does work on invisible license, where trace, the debuff, which is applied by this as well, is not something that can affect invisible license. The trace will not appear while they're invisible, so you can actually follow this line to follow an invisible license. Now, this can be used in 2 ways. If you scope in on an NPC or out of cover rival, you can just point your gun at them and hit the button and it will go off. But you can also just use it on the person you hit last. So if you hit someone and then you hit the button, it will apply to whoever you hit last, as long as there's no one in your scope. So probably don't scope in if you're trying to do it that way, because the scoped target does take priority. So if you've hit someone recently and you scope in on someone, it will apply to whoever you're scoped in on. There is a bit of a time. There is a timer. There's a bar on screen. It's fairly obvious. We'll see it in the initial build of when how long you have for your last hit target to that to be worn off. This ability is great. I think this is my favorite Ace build and probably the best, although there'll be some people who fight for another one, and I'll call that out when we get there. This one's just really easy to use. You hit someone with a shot. They get away, you hit the button that gives you trace, and you hunt them down and shoot them again. The trace lasts a while. Hang on, I have the stats. I didn't bring them up. The trace does last 15 whole seconds, assuming my stats are still correct. So that's a long time you have to hunt someone down. And that's also, we talked about the timer before the last hit thing wears off. So you can shoot them, they can run away, whatever, you can ignore them for a bit, and that last hit timer is going to be ticking down. And as long as you hit your expertise button before that timer is done, you get 15 seconds of trace on them. So you have a long time you can just hunt them down. It's kind of insane, and I think this one's really good. And I'm going to call it my favorite and probably the best / most comfortable to use. So that's that one. We'll see this in initial build, and I'm not going to use it in preferred, but it is my preferred one I usually take. Now let's talk about Heat Vision. Heat Vision is brand new to this season, and the other reason the Ace Guide took so long is I was trying to figure out how much value this gave you. The ability here is pretty simple. You click it, and you activate Heat Vision. Basically, any rival with at least half a bar of heat that is within 90 meters of you gets this zone around them, this large circular zone that allows you to see NPCs through walls and stuff. They don't have trace. I do want to shout that out because trace is an actual debuff that will be on their debuff bar. This just allows you to see things through walls, similar to trace. There's a bit of a distinction. But yeah, as long as they have at least half a bar of heat, they will get this zone around them, and they are not necessarily in the middle of the zone, but they are within this zone. It will move with them, so that can help you identify them. And the more heat they have, the smaller this zone is. So if they have a full heat 3, the zone may just be small enough that it only contains one person, which is going to make it really easy for you to hunt them down. Now again, so the requirements are you have this on. It's so every time you hit the button, it counts down. It lasts for a little while, counts down, and anyone with heat or gains that half bar of heat within that time, who is within 90 meters of you, will get this rather large zone around them. And again, the zone is smaller based on how much heat they get or have. So there's a lot of conditionals at play here. They have you have to have this running. They have to have heat. They have to be within 90 meters of you. Then you have to figure out which of the people highlighted is the target, assuming that they're even within range that you can do something about it, because 90 meters is pretty far. So if they like if they're at the full 90-meter range, then it's going to be difficult for you to get there unless it's popped up like right at the start. Now, this one does have full verticality. So if you're on like Diamond Spire, this will reach up and down most of the floors. In fact, in Diamond Spire, I think if you stand basically in the middle of the map, you can cover the whole map with this ability and find anyone with that half bar of heat. So my analysis of this is it's unfortunately just not that good. It's on a fairly low cooldown of 40 seconds, but I find myself the best way I can figure out how to use this is just hit it on cooldown and hope it kind of does something, because most of the time I hit it, nothing happens. So you just hit it a bunch and just hope one of the times you hit it, it worked out. Obviously, if you like hear a fight or someone shooting guards or something, then you can hit it and you'll know that someone has heat around and you can trace them, but you still have to figure out who that person is, which isn't necessarily that difficult as long as they're close enough. Once they're farther away, like at that full range, it can be difficult to figure out who's who through the wall. And like some of the intel you get, even if you get intel, isn't actionable because it's so far away. You have to get over there and it doesn't reveal exactly who is the person. So this kind of comes out to be a bad version of Red's passive. Red has a passive. We're going to pull Red back up here, which traces people who gain heat or get scolded. And this only has a 60-meter thing, and it's a full trace, as we can see here in the video. So this is a lot closer, which means the action is much more much more actionable. 60 meters is a lot closer to you than 90. So even if it pops in maximum range, you can still probably get there. It shows you exactly who it is and where they're going, rather than the guessing game generated by these heat vision circles. So yeah, this one, unfortunately, I think isn't very good. I think there's potential, and if they play with the numbers a bit, they could definitely get it good. But right now I can't really recommend taking this one, unfortunately. And I tried it a lot, but I just don't think it's that good. Finally, we're moving on to Big Blind. Big Blind, when we looked at the last one, it's very similar to that, except you get to place the zone wherever you want. This thing has like no cooldown. I think it's 5 seconds. You can just move the zone. So you put a zone down and we'll say it traces everyone in there. It doesn't give the trace debuff, but it allows you to see them through walls, shows them to all your allies. So if you chase someone and they ran around a corner or into a room, you can like smack this down on the like wall or door next to them, and if they're standing close enough, it is a circle and you're replacing the middle of the circle, then you'll get to see them and know where they're going and potentially cut them off. This one's really good. It doesn't have any verticality on it, so that zone you're placing's basically flat, goes up like a meter just to cover if someone was jumping or something, but it doesn't go through floors, or it doesn't go up or down like a full floor on Diamond Spire is what I mean. But it's pretty good if you kind of practice and learn it. There's weird and interesting places you can place this. A lot of things like on a chandelier that's hanging, and there's a floor above. You can place it like on the chandelier and it'll shine up through the floor above to do that. Or like on a lip or a little ledge on a window somewhere on Diamond Spire. This is pretty big, where all the purple rooms on Diamond Spire have all these windows with little like lips on them. You can just place the circle on that and it'll shine into that purple room for you. So I think this one's actually really good. if you spend the time to learn where to place it and you get used to using it as a combat thing. Obviously, it doesn't have the comfortability of the Queen's Gaze, which is why I still say this one's the best, but this one can definitely help you out in just the sky's the limit with this one. I think the more you learn about it, the more good you are with it and the more practice you put into it. So yeah, I think there's a lot to be said for Big Blind that I just don't have the necessary knowledge for. So I've tried to highlight it as best I can. But it's potentially her best, I think, if you get quite good with it. This one, however, is my pick for personal best because it is just so comfortable and easy to use. We are going to see heat vision in the preferred build just because I did want to show off using it as best as I could. And, well, we'll see what happens in that. Let's move on to the passives. Luckily, we've been here a while for this, but the passives are pretty quick. So the passives all affect your charge shot only. We talked about the charge shots in the weapons thing, but just to go over it again, whenever you scope in with any of Ace's weapons, they will have a red bar that goes to the top, and it will be a charged shot when that bar is full. The charge times do vary based on the weapon, so the weapon 1's got a medium, weapon 2 fast, and weapon 3 a slow charge time. And basically those charge shots all do bonus damage. That's consistent with all of her passives, and then the effect is different per passive. So this one's pretty easy. Whoever you hit with that charge shot gets exposed. Exposed is a debuff that means you can't get cover back. And I'll be honest, in terms of power level, granting someone exposed is not that powerful. Not being able to get your cover back is kind of a big deal, but not really. Obviously, if you're in a fight, the number one thing you're trying to do is get out of that fight, either by killing the other person or escaping. This does sort of prevent escaping a bit because you can't get your cover back, but if you can get out of Ace's sight and hide well enough, I don't think exposed does a lot. Now, if you win the fight versus an ace, you are still exposed, then you might have some guard aggro to deal with because you can't get your cover back because you're exposed. Kind of okay there. I don't think exposed is that good of a debuff. Now, there is some things to mention. Madam snapping, where she snaps into someone. She will still snap into them, but the cover will immediately break because they're exposed. Larson goes invis and often can get his cover back. This just extends the amount of time he can't get cover back, so that cover bar doesn't even go up while he's invisible until the exposed debuff is gone. But it does have an important call out with Red. So Red has a passive where when she gains her cover, she gets resistant. And this notably should not let her get cover, but the way it actually works is she gets cover for like a frame and then she loses it again. But because of the way the passive works, she actually does get that resistance buff from her own passive, even though technically she should never have got cover with this exposed. So it doesn't even work well on that. I don't think this one's very good, and I don't really recommend taking it because exposed just isn't that good of a debuff. So moving on, this is the exact same, except instead of exposed, it's slows. Slows is way better than exposed. This one is probably the go-to unless you have a reason to take the third one. I always have this one selected unless I look around the lobby and I see a specific reason to take the third one, which we'll talk about. A slowed target is easier to hit. It's that simple. If you're trying to two-tap someone with the weapon 1, or you have to reload your weapon 3, or even you're just trying to spray them, quote unquote, down with your weapon 2, if they're slowed, they will be easier to hit. It is that simple. So leading fights with a slowing shot is just going to make the rest of your shots easier to hit. This one's great. I think you should always take it unless you have a reason not to. This is the third one. Again, exact same thing, except just different effect. Neutralizing shot expectedly neutralizes. Neutralize prevents people from using their expertise. So this one's pretty good against a specific portion of the cast that really likes their expertise. Larson comes to mind. Madam comes to mind. Red somewhat as well. Even Chavez has that invulnerability that can be important. I think those are like the big ones. Sasori even somewhat, or I think that's most of the cast I can come up with who really want their expertise. So if you can lead with a neutralize and prevent them from using it, you might be able to just win the fight that way. So usually when I play Ace, I have this one selected, and then when I'm looking around the lobby, if there's a large number of people who need neutralized, license, madams, those sorts of things we already listed, I will switch it to the neutralizing shot before we go into game. That's how I usually do it. I think this one's just generally the best to pick unless you really want to neutralize somebody. And that's really it for the passives. They're pretty simple. We did go over them and I talked about them, and that's the whole kit. And we'll move on now. While no gadgets are necessarily agent specific, we will talk about some combos with Ace. The first one that comes to mind immediately is in fact the turret here. The turret's kind of a funny one where we talked about her expertise 1 being able to target and go on the people who were hit last by Ace. Well, your turret hitting someone does count as you hitting them. So you can trigger your expertise 1 on a target who was hit with your turret recently. So that's a combo right there. The shield does get a call out here for the weapon 3, having that long reload time. Shooting and then dropping the shield could buy you enough time to get a reload or off if you need. So that's that one as well. And I'm also going to call it the drone. I think Ace does work fairly well with the drone since your drone can fly pretty far. Sometimes even if you find someone with it, it's not really actionable. But with Ace's lack of fall off and just general sniper personality, I think this one does actually work pretty well with her. The tripwires, if you're really trying to make heat vision work, blowing someone's cover and forcing them to fight some guards is one way you could get them, or almost force them to get heat. So there's that. I think that's kind of it for specific combos with Ace. There's a lot of gadgets that just work generally well for fights or with in general, but this isn't really a gadget guide. So move on to our field upgrades. We're of course using the base build, which we do in all our guides. This is the build that you start the game with. Now for Ace specifically, the field agent kit I find is unnecessary. You might want this maybe at like the gray level if you find it's not up enough, but definitely I don't think you need this at the purple level. I think that's just overkill. Unless, again, you're really trying to make your expertise 2, the heat vision work, then you might want some of this so you can just have more uptime on it. But I would rather just a better chip and a better expertise. Now, ammo pouch gets a call out here in all of the guides since we're going to do all our showcases in solos. I don't find ammo pouch to be that useful in solos since all the ammo on the map is being grabbed by one person versus in a team game. There's the same amount of ammo on the map, but it's having to be spread amongst the team. Holding more ammo in that case could be more useful. Cover accelerator does get a special call out for Ace, since Ace can fire longer and further without losing damage than anyone else, along with potentially just having the best scopes in the game for such long range engagements. Being able to hit someone and then get back into cover potentially before they can even find where or who hit them can be very powerful on Ace. Not to mention the other benefits just generally come with cover for accelerator. I think it's a little more valuable on Ace than maybe any other character just for that. So we call out that one. I don't think any others have necessarily specific combos with Ace. There's a lot of generally good stuff, but this isn't a field upgrades guide. But we do also like to call out exfiltration scanner as being pretty bad, and you just shouldn't really be taking this chip in any situation. And just before we get into our showcases, let's go over our builds. Of course, our initial build is going to use our weapon 1, our expertise 1, and our passive 1. And our preferred build, or alternate build in this case, is going to use the King of Diamond, the weapon 3. We are going to make use of the heat vision, mostly to show off that it's not good instead of it is good in this case. And we are going to be using the crippling shot because I find that one is actually my preferred. So we'll be using that, and I will see you right there in our initial showcase. All right, we are here on Fragrant Shore for our Ace initial build here. Starting in the Murdery Hotel is not bad. Fragrant Shore is usually a map that's pretty good for Ace. because of the open space and the tall towers, tall buildings. I don't know if I believe that personally, but we are gonna use or do it that way. There's not a ton of intel. There is merit to maybe trying to like just gun our way through this door. It's not that smart though. I think we'll not do it.
All done.
And yeah, there's a lot in here. We just gotta get you to the door.
Blue is
And
not my color.
there we go. Whoop. Whoa, little lag spike there. Free key card. And
Easier
I guess we're not getting that
Always
3.
good.
Nope, that'd be bad. That's wasting one. I just heard that door open over there, so we'll probably just aim in as soon as this pops. Okay, I think it might have been the far door. It could have been one under me. Let's do this in the right order. Make sure we get up to 5 intel, because when we hack that, it's going to give us 5.
I'm a sitting duck over here.
And this way we get to keep our the most amount of intel. Whoop, come in, come on. Oh, we can't miss those. Oh my gosh. Okay, we didn't have to hit the expertise there. I forgot to turn names off. Might have to do that mid-game. Don't usually like doing that, but I think we will. So we were a little prepared. I did hit the first shot. I just missed the second. Let's just quickly do the hide names thing. There we go. Just so that... Alright, and we don't really have to go out this door. The reason I usually go through is because if you didn't get a key card, checking both guard rooms gives you the highest chance of getting that key card. But obviously we got a key card, so it didn't really matter. We'll just leave via window. This is a little risky, but not that big a deal. And yeah, the expertise there probably seemed a little weird, but if they had E2, I was worried about them snapping back. So then we would have been able to follow them if they did snap back. There's definitely a second way in here. Oh boy, that flick was bad. That one was fine. There we go.
Not for me. Sorry, soldier. Should make it easier to move around.
Okay. And obviously we didn't need the expertise on that red. Okay, now we have everything except a green. Thug's moving a little weird. That one right there.
But someone else deactivated
But-
a terminal.
I don't know. It's probably fine. Alright, so far so good. We try to lead with the scope shots for the bonus damage, but I don't really think it's worth it to get the, I don't really think it's worth it to, I don't know. I lost my train of thought there. I'm not gonna lie. That was, oh yeah, to charge the second shot if you don't have a window. Like, when when the red ran in... Oh, we have all our keycards. When the red ran into, like, the garden center, as I like to call it, we could have charged up another shot, but we didn't know if she was going to run out or not. So there's not a ton... If you find a window to charge the shot, great. Otherwise, I just kind of don't. Unfortunate. We really need our green, and we also need to not be really far from the vault. So let's just do it this way, and we'll head over towards the yacht. Oop, we opened everything with our thing that we didn't need. All right. And now we'll just head to the yacht. So there's only one terminal left. So normally I don't go near B or E on this map when there's only one terminal left to begin with. But obviously we already hit up both of them. So there's only 2 spots that the last terminal could be. Check the closest one. All right. I always slow down a little here because I'm a little worried someone's going to put a bounce pad on like this little path and you'll just end up in the water. Gonna grab this outfit because we just heard a shot and they're gonna know, but it may not matter. They're in here somewhere.
Our favorite agent has found a vault terminal.
Oh, they are in here somewhere. Okay.
It won't go to waste.
That was interesting. I don't know if they were a mimic or I just was just blind for a second. I feel like I was blind for a second.
Vault
Alright.
terminal deactivated. You get 1 star on your report.
But, yeah, there was some rare misses from a Weapon 1 Octo.
Should
If
take
they were
that.
mimic, I mean, that's a pretty good spot to mimic. If you're gonna mimic camp a vault terminal, the newest vault terminal that no one knows is a pretty good one to
Vault
do.
open.
Okay, not bad. We got pretty much everything.
Might use
I
this.
probably shouldn't have grabbed that because that's gonna tell people I'm in front of them. But well, we have it now. We're just kind of giving intel, and the plus 20 HP may not matter later. See if we can find us a printer. I've kind of started going to the middle floor for printers because usually you can see up or down. So yeah, we can see that one up there as well. These all open, but they tend to have like 1 or nothing in them. It's already risky to be sitting here opening the drawers, so I think we're gonna stop. But I did want to just show off that they do technically open, and that's like all of these. Well, only a couple out of each of these like things. We already got our disguise. We made sure we had that before we came in. Just grab this, and through. There's a 4 there. It's gonna waste 1, but getting it now is gonna save us time later. And we'll just go out not this way. There was a little more intel we saw. The light was green when I came in. Means no one else was in here. We got this. This one's a little risky. There's these 2 entrances, but there's also this back staircase. So I usually look this way, but technically someone could come up behind me, but it's rarely used.
Target acquired.
2 people? And we are going to go out not the way we came in, because we grabbed not all the intel, but a large portion of it. Also, this one has a little balcony, which might be good for us. Are they coming in? No, okay.
Need a little more time.
Let's go down here. Ping up, go lower. Okay, that's a Chavez and a Madam. And they're kind of close together. That's not good. Bit unfortunate there.
Initializing rival
Oop,
agent
they are
detection.
coming down. This might be fortunate, actually. Oh, we missed. There we go. Hit his arm. Hit his arm. Hit his head.
Sorry, soldier, but I'm taking this.
Okay, Madam backed way off. And reload our gun.
Rival agent detection mode.
Is she on this side of the door? No. Can I open it? No. That would be so... If my spyglass reach could open the door and then shoot her, would have been a hell of a play. Oh, there's another person. That's hack trapped. We saw the glow, so I'm just gonna open it.
Rival agent
I don't really mind giving the intel. Open this one with a spyglass as well. We do need to find a little bit more intel. Probably just get this 4 with my spyglass. Everyone seems to have backed pretty far off. So, not that big a deal if we're just hanging out for a minute. Ping up, go down.
Can't let my guard down.
activating rival agent detection mode.
Oh, there is someone on. I was like, why did this door open? There was no one around.
Rival agent detection mode.
It's a Larson and a Madam, and this is where neutralizing shot would be really good, but we have exposed shot, which is not that bad against Madam specifically, but against Larson, it doesn't do a lot. But we're out of the vault now, which is good for us. I kind of regret changing my disguise right this second, because if I was still a guard, I could go in that guard room and hunt down the Madam. But that's not happening right this moment. I don't really need to change disguise again.
Detection mode activated.
They're kind of just chilling, which is a bit annoying.
Activating rival intel running low.
But I think we just kind of book it towards C and grab intel on the way. And by book it, I mean walk slowly because we're conserving our pings.
Here we go.
Check. Yeah. All right. License out of our view entirely. Madam's hanging out in A. If we do this fast enough, we might be okay. As soon as we ping, we're just going to start sprinting. But we can't burn an intel or two to extend this ping. There we go. Burn a little intel to get some distance there. It slows that bar. And now we can just pull one of these.
Setting up.
This is a pretty good one to call for Ace because of the, whoop, hitting wrong buttons. Don't do that. You can jump over to here. Gives you this long corridor to look down, and you're a sniper character, so. Alright. We shot once for good measure, but it looks like they're pretty far and may not make it, so we might be able to just get free extract here. If my bounce pad was up, I could put it in this doorway. But we can also hit this to know where Larson went. Madam's close, but not close enough, and there we go. Not too bad. Solid use of all of our abilities there to make sure we just kind of got out. No need to take our fights we didn't necessarily have to. And that was our Ace initial build showcase. We saw some good fights. We saw some bamboozles. We got 4 limbs and 2 people alive when we left, so nothing wrong with that one for sure. All right, we'll move right along to our preferred build, and I will see you guys right there. All right, back on Fed Control for preferred build. This will be a pretty good showcase of the differences. Just if you're skipping to this part of the video, this is more like an alternate build versus preferred. I do like the weapon one more, but this one's pretty good too. And then we did take heat vision because it's new and fresh, and I'm just bad at using big blind, but normally I would like the expertise 1 in most situations. But we do have the slowing passive here, so that's actually a true preferred build. We got a lot of intel, so probably don't need to knock. Doug, come here. Doug, come here. Thank you.
Can't understand how one can use such a tiny little weapon.
And there we go. We should just... I'm not going to pretend to be an expert at heat vision yet, so I'm just going to just hit it on cooldown. It's a really long range of 90 meters, so it reaches almost to A. So if anyone's getting heat in A or D right now, we would... I just heard a shot. We would know.
No vault terminal here.
But, seems like no one is. And that's one of the, like, downsides with this ability that we've already talked about.
I'll use this.
Is this has a fairly low cooldown and a fairly long range, so you don't always get info from it. Which is why I kind of like the expertise 1, because when you use it, it gives you exactly the info you need. With this one, I feel like I won't even say like half the time. It's like most of the time you get nothing.
Always use more gear.
And we're gonna run through to the other guide room because we're looking for key cards. We already listened in that one. I didn't like search. And this is off cooldown, so let's just hit it again.
We do not want to call you slow, but someone else deactivated a vault terminal.
In our base build, we are gonna use it a lot because we have purple already for our field upgrades. We'll just grab this on our way out. I could search all the drawers, but it's probably not worth it. Yeah, okay, there's a 2 there we'll grab as well. And I will switch to this Doug because I don't really like... Oh, well, I was gonna say I don't really like running around too much as an elite guard this early, but here we are. Okay. Grab our green here and a bunch of intel. We haven't really... We heard one... Oh, I lied. The health thing's over there. They have heat? Nope. See, this is the thing. We know there's 2 players out of cover right here, and they don't have any heat, so I can't see them. I don't know. Not moving to get a cover back faster, but there's a guard right behind me. Stuck into this corner.
No way. I've lost
I don't see a body or anything either, is the weird thing. Alright, Doug's heading in here. That's a bit unfortunate. I couldn't get any closer than I did. It just wasn't possible. I also didn't get my gray. I would have liked to get my gray. Right, we didn't use any of that.
moving as fast as I can.
And we're just gonna keep hitting this. If it pops like once, I don't know if it'll even be worth.
There is no vault terminal.
Alright, well, we already got this.
Not bad.
Continue to go out the opposite way to look for keycards. Whoa, come here. There we go.
Critical.
Once you land those 2 shots, melee is pretty much your best bet. I probably should have charged the first one, but we're kind of lucky and we got this. Well, if the second one landed, it didn't matter, but it was a bit rough. Oh, there's... No, that's Cav. That's not the Vigil. We shot a Vigil. Okay, well, sit and heal for a minute. I don't want to... There's health right there. Yeah, no, I want to go, though. We're not going to be quite at full. Sometimes there's food there for us to get. We're at full of this. And pick up a little ammo. Not a big deal.
Vault open.
Hit this again, but at this point, I don't think it's going to go off, but... Just go. We're missing our blue keycard, which is kind of a bad one to be missing, because we got to go through 2 blue doors and only 1 purple door.
Can't let my guard down.
Keep our
Nice
stuff
problem
up.
solvers.
I'll get Pinter here. This is one of my actual... I like this Pinter spot. It's kind of in a good defendable spot. Long hack down. There we go. And... Alright, Pinter's there. I wonder if that was player. It is. I don't think there's anything more I can do with it, but... Yeah, if I had E1 here, I could have put a trace on them, and then we could do something a little more, but... Oh, hello. I heard it. Where is it? There's our Vigil friend. Do we go back is the question. And the answer is yes.
It won't go to waste.
You didn't have a keycard. Oh boy, that's a Hans.
All set.
I missed. I don't think they'll come back out this door. We should just be going for the package, but we are healing, so we might as well wait a second.
You never know.
Blue keycard, nice. Save us some intel.
Easier access. Always good.
Make sure we break this so we can get it back while we're getting the package. Light is not quite in our view yet. We're in the wrong disguise, but we're in a hurry, so I'm not going to worry about it. Green is good. Let's get going. We do have to be a little worried because... we did see that one player we shot way long time ago probably found a printer and printed by now, so we're gotta be a little wary. Okay, okay.
Agent detection mode
Okay.
started.
I'm not sure who we shot forever ago. We know there's at least a Hans alive, albeit far. We are Ace, so I do want to take like an upper path, because the high ground's even more valuable on Ace than other agents. But we're also in the wrong disguise here, so... See if we can do this. Let's just do the usual move just on this door. It's not. Oh, it is. It almost got it. This is investing way too much time in this, by the way. There we go.
Nice.
Rival agent detect running low.
There is one person. There's no 4 around. I was kind of hoping for...
Intel running low.
Oh, that's not a Hans. Okay.
This is not optimal.
This...
Improve.
Keycard we don't need. This
There
we
we
need,
go.
this we need, this we need.
Intel.
Keep grabbing intel. Keep this up just in case. I think that's an octo. I think if we just move to the other side.
Activating
Yeah, they're
rival
coming out the
agent
bottom.
detection mode.
Now we have to get close.
Initializing
I went down
rival
again.
agent detection mode. Rival agent detection mode started.
All right, the double punch comes through again, and there we go. Oh, there's the Hans. We were looking for that Hans. All right, so the heat vision, we kind of saw, it did get us 1 kill, and that was about it. It only went off once, and it did get us a kill, but also, when it went off,
Extraction vehicle waiting.
it was actionable, right? Like, it was really close. Like, if we had been 90 meters away from that fight, we, like, couldn't have done much. So, it's an okay ability, but I still like the expertise 1. Let's get on out of here. I was gonna take that disguise, but let's just leave. And there we go. Not too bad.
That's how we do it in the private sector.
All right. Quick look at our score here, then we'll pop back to our main menu to do our outro. 3 limbs, not too bad. Let's just wait in case something important happened in the lower half of our scoreboard. All right, and let's just do a quick outro here for our ace guide.
No matter how
So this was our
far,
preferred build. We saw the initial build. Pretty good overall. Well, we're pretty much done the guides now, but if you have any ace tips, put them in the comments. I guess there's 1 left, so if there's something we really missed, we could probably add it to our last guide as a category thing. This guide did help you out, a subscription is really helpful, as it does help me make more of these guides and also just content. And in general, we do a lot of gameplay commentary here, so if that's what you're into, I will see you in the next one.